No noises today. Just dance moves.
Just dance moves.
Just dance. I'm the only one who can hear the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Over a Couple of Drinks presents The Regulars. Woo! It's Game of Thrones time.
Woo!
We missed last week because I had some personal issues. I'm sorry. Deal with it.
Double episode.
We're double an episode. It's not like we haven't done that before. So we're talking about 2 episodes. Talking about The Broken Man, and we're talking about No One.
Sounded like you said the Booger Man.
The Booger Man.
Yeah, we're adults. What up?
This is a professional podcast. Shut up.
So professional.
So professional. We're not trying to. Okay, because it's been 2 weeks and we're not really good at recaps. We're still better than After the Thrones.
We're just not good at time management, so we're just going to do them both at the same time.
Well, to be fair, not a lot of big events happen. A lot of small events were moving, but nothing major. Not until next episode.
Yeah, Bastard Bowl. Bastard Bowl.
Before we start, Jess.
What?
My lovely co-star. What are you drinking tonight?
Yellowtail Moscato.
Ooh.
Because I'm poor and classy.
I'm drinking some cherry wheat.
That sounds tasty.
It's quite good. It's quite good. Okay. So, up first, the breakout star of the first episode. Because they didn't show up in the second episode. We're starting up north. Jess, walk us through what happened up north.
So Sansa's kind of like wandering around looking for people with Jon and Davos. We're in episode 8, we get the whole they're walking up to House Umber, and House Umber's like, nah, not gonna have it. This isn't profitable for us.
House Umber's all like, you didn't help us take back our castle, blah 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 blah. And I love the meme of George R. R. Martin being like, actually, it was Stannis who took back your castle, and you're marching with him to Winterfell, so fuck off.
Yeah, so
that didn't
go well for them, and it didn't really. I mean, and then we met like one of the coolest characters that, like, I think the coolest character that's been introduced this season, and one of the only one of the best characters that have been introduced during this show, which is Lady Mormont, who's like 11 years old, but a cold, hard bitch.
Like, first of all, we get a picture of Bear Island, which looks beautiful. I would love to live there. It's awesome. Yeah. And then, you meet her. And she's like, what'd you say, like 6 or 7? 8, maybe?
She's like, I think she's supposed to be 11.
But she demands attention.
She was serious.
She was
action.
Great.
And so we did that, but I mean, it's an island, so they don't really have a whole lot.
Well, also they spend all of their troops on Rob.
Right.
They're like, okay, Jon tries to talk, she slaps him down. It was awesome. Sansa tries to talk to her, slaps her down with this epic thing of, I'm confused, are you a Bolton or a Lannister? And you're like,
sick burn!
Please apply milk of the poppy where the burned areas are applied. Oh! And then badass Davos starts talking.
And Davos comes in and smooths it over. And it was like a pimp.
Like,
Davos is still holding strong.
Davos, still one of my favorite characters, hands down. So good. He's so good.
All nubby hands down.
All nubby hands, all nubby fingers.
So, and that's kind of where we left it, though. Like, they didn't really touch on it.
Well,
they didn't really touch on it in episode 9.
They find out that she only has 62 fighting men. And again, Davos, the pimp, is all like, then, the Boltons are doomed or some shit like that. And I really am hoping that in the Bastard Bowl that these 62 men are like the 300 Spartan and just fucking wreck house. Like, I want that more than anything else.
I'm still holding out that Sansa wrote to, like, Baelish, and they're going to bring in some people. That's probably what happened.
The last scene we have there is her talking to Jon and Davos, and her kind of making fun of how we're not ready. Like, we can't go, and Jon's like, we have to go, time's against us, weather's against us. And again, it just goes to show how, though Sansa's almost there, she isn't experienced as a commander. Which, yes, she's right, they don't have enough men. But they don't have the time to do it, and it also just goes to lead that, again, you lied about, Peter Baelish and the Eyrie, men, which is what she wrote to, because someone on the internet had more time than anything else, actually took the time to find the picture of the
and
brief note.
decipher.
Yeah, decipher. Yeah. And it says, "Please send people from wherever." So,
right.
Pretty much what's going to happen is, by the books, the Bastard Bolt's going to go the Bolton's way, and then the Aries going to show up and kick ass, and blah 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 blah. That's North.
But we're totally going to be surprised.
Yeah.
And that's North. So then we trickle down to River Run.
No, we're going to
River Run. We go the mainlands.
The mainlands, because the Broken Man starts off with a cliffhanger opening, which is bizarre for a Game of Thrones, because normally it goes right into do 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 do, and we see the Hound. He's alive.
I screamed. That was one of the things that I screamed for. I was like, "No shit, the Hound's back!" And Daryl's like, "Got the computer in here." Like, he's like, "What's going on in there?" Because I'm in my bedroom watching it because I.
And you're like,
"Boy."
Boy.
I'm like, "The Hound is back!" And I'm like making stupid noises, and I was really excited. But then like you see like he's building like this church, and then like I don't know why, but it just seemed like I expected them to start frolicking through those fields and singing Godspell songs.
Right.
Like I got this very strong Godspell feel from
the saving, again, before you start shitting on this all too bad, the saving grace is that Ian McShane is the leader of this Godspell group. And someone described him as...
He could be my Jesus any day.
He is awesome. His character was great. Like he was like a better, like the nicer version of the Sparrow. Where he's talking about how, before he joined up, and he was like, I was a bad man. You need someone murdered, I was your murderer. And you're like, you need something stolen, I was your thief. And you're like, dude, this guy's awesome. And he has like all these little quips that you just want to quote forever. Like, you can't, violence is a disease, you can't cure it by giving it to other people. And you're like, oh shit. And like he's trying to teach the Hound shit. He's trying to be cool. And then shit went bad.
Yeah. Some jackasses came through, and
they're from the Brotherhoods Without Banners. The Hound's all like, no.
Were they from the Brotherhood?
Yeah, the Hound points it out, and he goes, they don't care about your 7 gods. They follow one god, and like that's where Ian McShane has that great line of, I don't know what gods there are. I just know somebody has a plan for us.
But
because
the
what the
Brotherhood
fuck's the point?
Without Banners doesn't go for the 7.
No, they go for the 1.
Go for the 1.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He goes, they don't give a shit about your 7 gods. They follow one god. So
I guess I missed that part. I was hoping that that's not who I was hoping they were just renegade vigilantes.
I hope so too.
And that they weren't supposed to be associated with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and that maybe they were just like street, like sellswords, or like street people, because they talk about how like the road. They talk about in the books, at least, how like the road gets really bad.
Yeah.
During this point in time, and like so, I guess I was just living on that hope.
I originally thought they were sellswords too, until the Hound brought up to Ian McShane that they're from the Brotherhood Without Banners. We need to be careful, even though you say they don't want iron, they don't care. And I'm like, oh shit. And the Hound is out chopping wood, and all of a sudden comes back when he hears screams.
Everyone's dead.
And just like that badass wildling from Hardhome, Ian McShane is dead. Fuck you.
We can't have any. This is why we can't have nice things.
But this leads into an awesome opener in the next episode, where I call it "The Hound Goes Jason Voorhees on Bitches," and just starts fucking walking up to people with an axe and just killing
people. He's got some anger he's got to work out.
He's got a little bit of tension up here, but he's
just
just
do some swinging.
He's just murdering people, and it's gruesome. And I love that he goes up against that one guy, and like chops his dick off or something like that. There's just blood, and he's like, "Where's the one with the yellow cloak?" And he's like, "Fuck you." He goes, "Really? Those are your last words?" And he goes, "Gun." He goes, "You're shit at dying," and just murders.
I love Owen. He's such a good character.
He is.
And he even like makes a comment like, "I know I've fought women who are better than you."
Listen, girl, put the bow down. I fought women who are tougher than you. Oh, because then he runs
You think about it, like the women that he's that he's been most recently seen with is Arya, Brienne, and Sansa. And granted, Sansa, that was like that was like book Sansa, not season, like not show Sansa.
To quote Jack Nicholson, 2 out of 3 ain't that bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. And we did that, and he caught up
with Sir. Is it Barristan? No, it's not Barristan.
It's not Barristan. Barristan's
I'm looking it up.
The White Knight.
It's the guy with the eye patch who, in the books, is dead, and him showing up basically kills Lady Stoneheart. I'm sorry, but she's done. She's not coming back, kind of thing.
But they brought back the Hound.
They brought back the Hound, but like in the books,
Beric Dondarrion.
Dondarrion gives up his life for Stoneheart. So him being alive means Stoneheart isn't, and that makes me sad.
Well, and I mean, maybe they haven't. Maybe they're gonna do it different.
They could be.
I'm still not giving up hope because all of a sudden the Hound is back.
Well, also because this whole, I'll get into it more later, but it feels like everything's still shifting towards where the books are.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of key events happening.
They're starting to get back.
Yeah, it feels. It's very weird. We'll cover that later, especially with the next place we're going, River Round. It starts to feel like whatever. What do I keep saying? Round. Just round the river round.
So yeah, we get there, and
he has the last 3 people strung up on rope. And he's gonna hang them. The Hound's pissed, saying, I want them. I deserve to kill them. He's like, no, we don't kill them. They dragged the Brotherhood with Banners name through the mud, so we hang them. And he goes, I want 2 of them. They give him 2 of them. They won't let him mutilate him. They just let him hang him. And the Hound just fucking kicks the legs out of them and starts killing them, and then starts robbing their bodies as they're alive.
Yeah, he's like putting their boots on, like it's just silly. But like Bill and I were talking about earlier, how like you're trying to figure out, if you're a book reader, you're trying to figure out whether or not the person with the yellow coat is Lem.
Lem, the Lemon Knight, who is a total like stand-up guy. Like he is the ideal Brotherhood without banner. He's everything right about the Brotherhood without banners. And in this guy with the yellow coat is kind of a d-bag.
Right. Oh, sorry. And that was and so my hope is that Lem is not the person with the yellow coat. The person with the yellow coat, the yellow cloak, is
some other guy.
Is now dead, and somebody's going to take his coat and become Lem.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I hope for. That's what I'm striving for. That's what I've got my fingers crossed. And they're like, hey, you should probably come with us.
Which, I don't remember how that scene ends. Does he just agree?
Yeah, it kind of is like left open-ended, but you're leaning towards like he's gonna do it.
Well,
what else does he have to live for?
It also sounds cool because they sound like they're going north to go fight the White Walkers, which maybe they'll run into the Battle of the Bastards and help, because Melisandre's there, and we know that Melisandre knows them because that's where she got Gendry from.
And Arya and the Hound are bros. I mean, he's just without a purpose without her.
Yeah. So, and that
which is gonna be really awkward. Like, if Arya comes to Westeros and then like the Hound and her get back together as like a tag team, and then like Arya runs into like Sansa and Bran, and it's like, oh, this is awkward.
Well,
you tried to kill me. Gah.
I want that scene to show up where she shows up and the Hound is like, you left me to die, and she goes, yeah, but you were kind of a dick.
Yeah.
fair enough, and they just go on their way. Like that's all I want. Is like, you left me to die, you suck. And he goes, you were a dick, you suck. Okay, we're friends again. Cool, let's go.
All right, cool.
Like that's all I want. And then like him and Brian to have like this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! So you got Tormund, right? You got Tormund. Tormund all crushing on Brian. What if the Hound is all like, no, she's kind of badass. I kind of like her. And then you got Jamie. We got like a love square. I don't know. I'm just excited. I want it. I want that so bad. I want the Hound versus Tormund versus Jamie and like fighting for Brian's affection.
Speaking of Jamie, we'll trickle on down to River Run. Where Jamie's just kind of shut up and be like, I'm going to show you how to do this. And he goes in.
The Frey are being dumbasses.
The Frey are just a bunch of fucking idiots.
They're like inbred assholes.
And so, like, that's the weird part. And he's like, I'm going to show you how it's done. And they're like, yeah, okay. So he goes up and he tries to, like, negotiate with Blackfish.
Who?
And, like, you get this scene where they're like, we're going to kill Edmure. And he's like, fine. Do it.
No fucks were given.
No fucks were given. He just didn't even really have to think about it too much. He just goes, meh. Which comes back to bite him in episode 9, because
8.
Well, 8. Because there's this whole like Brienne thinks she's gonna be able to convince him that like it's okay. And so she goes in there and she's like, hey, you gotta come help your niece. And he's like, I haven't seen her since she grew boobs. No, he didn't say that, but like it's been like since
I haven't seen you since you were like she was like a babe, you know, just classic.
Yeah, like so.
Well,
it's kind of weird.
Also, you're really bad at recaps. You're forgetting all the good parts.
What?
Like
the sexual tension. We were gonna go back to that.
Oh, we were going back to sexual tension. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I was just doing like this straightforward storyline. Come on, bro.
Sexual tension's
so. Yeah, no, and like they go in there and you know it just doesn't work out for Brienne, and then like, but I'll go back. I just don't work in linear fashion. I work by characters.
Okay, fine. Time is a circle, all right?
Before Brienne goes in there, she has to like talk to Jamie, and she's like, "I've got Sansa, and like here's this." Like, here's my sword back, here's this sword back, because this is what you gave me to keep it. And he's like, this has always been your sword. And then you get this crazy sexual tension. And meanwhile, you've got, like, Pod and Pod and Bronn are out there, and they're like...
being bros.
You think they're fucking, dude? Like...
What?
He's like, why would they be fucking? I'd fuck her. What? Like, and Pod's like, oh, my virgin ears, ah. And
even though he's tripod pod, you know.
Even though he's tripod pod, and like Bronn's trying to give like Pod some like fighting lessons,
like, some dirty fighting lessons on what to do.
Some like it's a really good like feel good kind of like setup for. I mean, that was one of the better parts of that episode.
Yeah, it was.
It was well rounded.
It was return to form with Tyrion missing, you know.
Right. And then so they leave with this like sexual tension, and you know Brian goes in and she fails, and like she has to be escaped. She has to be helped, assisted in escaping by Blackfish, who's like, "I'm not leaving. I'm not running around. I'm done running around. I've been running my whole life. I'm gonna go fight people." And then like Jamie takes a castle, and they're like, "The Blackfish died," and everyone's like, "So this." Did nothing.
I'm super pissed that they killed him off screen again. Like this is right up there with Stannis. It's just this character, though he's only been on for 2 episodes, we deserve to see him killed. You know,
right.
He was going out in a glory fashion and goes, I haven't had a proper sword fight in years. I think I'm like a damn fool of myself. I'm like,
right?
I can't wait to see that.
That's something that we'd want to see.
Yeah. And they just kill him off screen. I'm like, what? What's right to people?
So and then like Brian and Pod get in a boat and they just
swim away,
float away, and you get like this like star-crossed lovers longing glance between Jamie and Brian.
I loved it.
As she's rowing her way back to Tormund Giant's Bane, like.
Well, okay. What I really liked about this is that it shows that like where Jamie has come, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like. I'm really glad because in the previews he gave this speech and it looked like he was giving the speech to Brian. I was really hoping he wasn't about how I'll do anything to get back to Cersei. And I was like, oh God, don't ruin the relationship. They didn't. He was talking to fucking what's his face Tully.
Someone else.
What's his face Tully? Dumbass McTully.
Right.
And it was a good scene because he starts pushing his buttons about how he's gonna strap Tully's child that he hasn't seen since ever because of the Red Wedding. He's been in chains.
Right.
And how he's going to strap him to a catapult and fire him over the wall because he doesn't give a shit. And you're like, oh, man. And so when they release him to have him take control of Riverrun, and
Edmure just doesn't fucking care.
Edmure's just like,
he's
yeah,
just
no.
like, all right, whatever. I'm done with this shit.
And he goes in and surrenders the place. It shows Jaime isn't the same Jaime we saw in the first 2 seasons.
No, he's not.
Where it was like rash and ready to fight. And I'm glad because it shows that, even though he lost his arm and he's not up to fighting par, he's using his brain.
I agree.
That's good. Good character development.
Then we go down to King's Landing where we find the other Lannister sibling. And is that your phone?
It's not my phone.
Where are these noises coming from?
I don't know.
What? I thought that was your phone this whole time.
Really? You want my ringtone?
Anyways,
this is
no,
my ringtone, right?
I'm okay.
I'm gonna give you my ringtone, okay? Okay, so you know what my phone is. So next time you'll be like, Bill, is that your phone? Why, yes, it is, because it sounds just like this. Nope. That's what it is. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, question. Did the first episode, The Broken Man, is this where we met Marjorie talking to the Sparrow about basically sexism? Was that episode?
Yeah, that was episode 7 where they were like, you gotta sleep with your husband. You gotta do it. That's what you gotta do.
I love the meme where she's like, so when I have sexual urges, it's a sin, but when my husband has sexual urges for me, that's part of God's will. I was like, And also, important thing is, you start to see the Sparrow might not be so holy and pure, as he's just getting an heir that he can manipulate.
Right.
He's kind of getting dickish. Waiting for that character to get killed. What's going on with the other Lannister?
She's lost her goddamn mind. Mm-hmm. So, like, Joffrey goes and he speaks to the people, and he just says basically that Loras and Cersei are going to be going. No, yeah, Tommen, not Joffrey.
Joffrey's dead.
Little premature, crazy Joffrey. No, he's more like Baylor. Anyways, and he says that, like, they're going to actually put Loras and Cersei to trial, and from now on he's banishing trial by combat, which is what she's been leaning on and hoping for since she's got the Franken Mountain behind her. But it didn't really work out for her at all. And, like, she's, like, super upset about it. And granted, like, she kind of had it coming because, like, the what are those called? Not the Begging Brothers, the Sparrow,
the church militia.
The faith militant kind of came in and they were like, we want to talk to people. We want to talk, like, the High Sparrow wants to talk to you. You have to come. She goes, no. And that's when you get the quote from the trailer, like, I choose violence. And, like, she just Franken Mountain, like, murders somebody. And then they're like, all right, bitch, you crazy. And that's when you get the royal decree from Tommen. So you're like, you fucked up.
But to be fair, she had a moment of joy when the mountain was murdering somebody. I had a moment of joy too because those little shits deserved it.
It's true. They're not good.
No, they're hoodlums. They're hoodlums with, like, stupid stars tattooed in their, like, gouged in their head, and I want every single one of them's heads to be bashed in.
I just wonder, like, where are they going with this? There was a crazy theory I read online that, because I've been doing, in between our episodes, I do a lot of searching on the internet for crazy theories, and there were a particular amount of crazy theories between these last two episodes that were absolutely fascinating. And we'll get to some of them later when we go into when we get over to Bravos. But like the one that I most recently read was conceptually talking about a parallel between Cersei and like King Ares.
Because Qyburn, we were forgetting a big. I don't remember if we knew about this before. You helped me because I needed to ask you this. At the end of Cersei's story for these episodes, Qyburn says, "You asked me to look into these rumors, and I have answers." And she's like, "Are they good or bad?" And he's like, "Better." Do we know what the hell they're talking about?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
They talked about the parallel because like Mad King Ares tried to burn down King's Landing in order to save King's Landing, and we already know that she's a fan of wildfire. And so the theory goes is that Cersei's going to go mad as you progressively are seeing her like slip it, like she went into the crazy madness and then she kind of started to be like the calm, cool, collected madness. And so this particular fan theory was that she's going to try and burn King's Landing down with wildfire. And I thought that was particularly fascinating. So when Qyburn, who is the person who cultivated all the wildfire during the Battle of Blackwater, like they were having that conversation of like, oh shit, because I'd read that theory between those two episodes and not after. So that's
interesting.
Very interesting and a possibility.
The other thing that happened in King's Landing was Marjorie got to go talk to the Queen of Thorns and convinced her to leave and slipped her a note that had a flower on it. Basically meaning she is playing
thorns on it.
Yep, she is playing the long game. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping Marjorie takes down the whole church from inside like a badass.
Or she's just trying to get rid of Cersei.
That too. Also, the death clock timer on Tommen has been moved up 2 times because that little shit is going to get murdered hard.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's going to be by his own
Well,
mother.
and that was the other part of the theory with Cersei is that Tommen's going to get murdered or Tommen's going to die, and that's what's going to set her over the edge.
Yeah.
Opposed to giving up any sort of control to the throne.
The other joke I saw, and I kind of hope was true, was that was trial by combat, and Cersei says, "I choose the mountain," and the Sparrow says, "I choose Tommen."
Ugh!
Right?
Ooh! I don't like that.
All right, we're hop skipping over the Great Sea to Marine, because not a lot happened in Marine. Basically,
I don't think Marine was in it was in episode 7.
No, I don't think so either. Basically, what happened in Marine was Varys is off to Westeros, and there's a nice little goodbye, and he's like, "I can't be seen with the city, the most famous dwarf in the city." Tyrion says, "In the world."
And it was great.
Nice. It was nice. So he's gone. There's a little great moment with Tyrion trying to make
Grey Worm and Miss Sandy learn jokes. I love that scene.
And then everything goes to hell. With the Masters attacking the city, basically shifting it back on track to where the book is. I don't understand why they're attacking. Like they say, to get their property back, but I don't get it. I don't.
It's
understand.
a bad time.
Yeah, so
they're trying to collide these storylines, but Tyrion just made this negotiation, and it doesn't really make sense. Yeah.
So I don't get it. And basically, he's saying, "I'm sorry, I fucked up." Grey Worm's not having it. They hear something on the roof that sounds like dragon claws because we're all smart, and Dany shows up.
And it's the end of the episode. I don't really got any plans. I was like, sounds precariously like dragon claws because that's something that I encounter on my daily basis. Like, I know what dragon claws sound like.
It sounded like a giant fucking creature on your roof. What else is it going to be?
Well, and I was wondering whether or not it was going to be the other 2 dragons or if it was going to be Dany, and it was Dany.
Yeah.
Where are
the other 2 dragons?
Where's her Khalasar?
Yeah. Well, they're riding in. She flew in like a badass.
So not a whole lot happened there.
Oh
Like,
shit! She's gonna get the ships from the Masters
ships.
because they needed like some 1,000 ships.
Well,
She gets taken to the
or
Masters.
she's going to get the ships from the Greyjoys who are flying over. We missed them.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
their Greyjoys are on. Well, no, because we missed a really great. And I'm gonna just throw it out here right now because there's not really much left to talk about with Mary. And we're gonna jump back over to Westeros and the.
Was it
Not
Westeros
so-
or were they in Bravos? Because I don't remember.
They were. They're on an island whoring somewhere.
Whoring
Because whoring.
Whoring.
They are whoring. Whore. They're on an island whoring somewhere, and you get this awesome frickin' scene where like
Where boobs are.
Yara is like
Boobs
she's sitting there and
everywhere.
she's just sticking her face in some boobs and
and
she's
sucking.
she's going at it, and Theon's just being a creep ass watching.
Well, okay.
And
it was okay. As you were saying, it's a great scene because it's seeing Theon there is like seeing a drug addict fall into a drug den,
right.
and like you feel really bad for Theon. Again, great scene. So continue. He's not being a creeper. He's like, I don't have a dick.
Yeah, that's kind of no, but like, God, it's like this was awesome because Yara was like, "Hey, I need my brother back. Are you in there? Are you?" And like she like takes his face and she's like, "Are you in there? Because if you're not in there, kill yourself." She doesn't say leave. She says go slit your wrists.
Yeah.
Like, there's no use for you on the planet unless I can get Theon back. And I'm like, damn, girl, that's some rough shit.
So good.
But it needed to be said. What good is he? Like, if he's if he's gonna still be in that mentality of Reek and just playing face, that's not what they need. They need another player. She needs another player in the game.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that, like, as long as because and here's the thing, they're going to meet Dany, but what are they gonna do? What do they have to offer her? Theon doesn't have a dick.
Yeah. You can't
But
offer them.
but they do. They can offer a Westerosi ally and ships.
Yep.
And they're already conquerors. Like that's the iron. That's what the Ironborn are. And I think that the ideals of the Targaryens and the ideals of the Greyjoys are very similar.
Well, I was
but
going
then
to say Dothraki. Like they're the seaborn Dothraki in my mind.
And I think that it'll work. And like Danny's gonna see this other like powerful female,
and
I think they're gonna bro out. Yara might like fall in love with her, but they're gonna bro out.
She might want to quote fuck the shit out of that. Just saying.
So I really love that part of the episode. And
it was really good because you didn't expect it to be so good.
I didn't expect it to be there at all.
Yeah, like you're like, oh great, here's Theon and Yara, blah blah, and you're like, no, there's a really good character building moment that maybe we can get Theon back. Like maybe actually see a Theon we haven't seen before because we've never really seen Theon. We saw
maybe you can see like a parallel of the way that Jaime is now, but in Theon.
Yeah, where he's just like, let's fucking wreck shit, all right?
Yeah. So that's totally a possibility, and then we move in over to Bravos.
Which is, in my mind, the main event of these two episodes, really.
This is...
The first part, like the first episode in A Broken Man, it happened really fast, felt very surreal. I don't know if you ever got that too. Like, Ari's walking around and she talking to sailors who are like, I'm not going anywhere near that island. Fucking Greyjoys are there. We're not going anywhere. We're going to sail away. And she's like, I want to go to Westeros. And she throws money on the table. And he's like, well, fine, you can come with us. And she throws more money on it and goes, I want a cabin. And then she takes all the money up, and you're like, oh, she's kind of learning things. And she's
like, we leave later.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, she's setting a trap. That's what I kept thinking. Like, she's throwing money around. She's talking about, she's not trying to disguise herself. A girl wants to leave Bravos for Westeros. She's setting herself up to be a target. So she goes onto this bridge, and an old lady who shows up and goes, pretty lady, and turns her and stabs her a bunch of times, and she jumps in the water, and you realize it's the waif, and you're like, the fuck just happened? This was like really quick, felt weird, and then like it shows her crawling out of the water and she's bleeding, and that's where that episode ends. And we're talking about some fan theories right now because we get answers, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Before we get in, I'm gonna leave you for the crazy one that we talked about that I didn't really love but didn't You know,
the
crazy
the one we'd be angry about if it happened.
Not that it's a bad theory. It's a great theory. It's really is.
Fucking awesome theory.
It's whoever thought of it, 10 points. But I would hate it if it happened, and I'm glad it didn't. Spoilers. One of my theories that I read was that they noticed Ari doesn't walk that way when she walks up to talk to the sailors. She's clearly making a showboat. She doesn't walk that way. Her hands behind her back, very straight and prim and proper. Like, we really haven't seen that Arya since, like, maybe season 1 when she was at King's Landing. You know? Then she throws the money down with her right arm. And she picks up the money with her right hand. And then someone points out that the old lady's face is a face Arya saw in the Hall of Faces and touched. She gets stabbed. She holds the wound with her right hand when she gets out of the water and crawls away, making a really big show of her bleeding all over the place. And I'm like, ooh. So maybe this is a big trap that's what she's setting. Like, there's wounded prey, follow it, you know? Mm-hmm. Someone said maybe it's no, not what was it? Jaqen. Jaqen took her face somehow and is setting all of this up. Like, someone thought of that because she never took away Jaqen Hagar's name when she threatened him to kill himself in season 2 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So that was the big theory, and I was like, I could buy it. But I also did like the idea of her setting up a trap because Arya should have known better. You know? Mm-hmm. Like it just, again, this was like maybe, 2 minutes of a scene that happened with her getting stabbed? It felt very weird.
It just happened very... Well, and to play off that concept, yeah, she wasn't walking like Arya.
No. But
maybe she was walking like Arya. And like one of the thought processes that I had is the reason why she was acting like that is as soon as she gets on that boat, she's gonna say something like, "I'm Arya Stark."
Yeah, get me home.
Get me home. Yep. Get me home, and I'll find a way to, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. There were all kinds of random. There were so many cool things they could have done with that because, it was totally different. All right-handed. There's that screenshot of the 2 different Aryas crossing paths. And you see the Arya from the previous episode when she's watching the shows walking that way with the same haircut. And, this could very well just be that Game of Thrones doesn't want to buy any more costumes. So they threw somebody in a costume and did her hair exactly like Arya Stark. And wait a minute, Game of Thrones is a little bit smarter than that. Why did this happen?
Yeah, right?
And that was just kind of a really kind of weird, that seemed like something that would just have to be intentional to do. And so they opened up for so much conversation on all of these theories. My favorite theory, the theory that we were mentioning earlier, was the theory that the waif isn't a person.
Yeah. This is great. I love
that. When Arya came into the House of Black and White, she drank out of the pool and it split her mentality. And the reason why the waif is constantly going up against Arya is because that's her potential faceless man self versus Arya Stark. And they continue to explain how the way Jaqen never talks to Arya unless the waif is out of the room.
Yeah.
And all these other concepts of how maybe the reason why the waif comes up and said you promised is when Arya was murdered, maybe that would allow a girl to be a faceless man.
Yeah, the waif becomes nobody.
The waif becomes nobody because the waif is nobody. And I thought this was the most fascinating, I'm like, this is such an in-depth theory that it just blew my mind. And we were talking and we're like, that's a really cool theory. I think I'd be really mad.
Well, the reason why I was mad was because the whole idea of a split personality becoming its own
manifestation,
personified thing is played out. It's played out. We've seen it a billion times before. And though incredibly smart, incredibly, well thought out, part of me would hate it because you guys should be more clever than this,
Right. And if there was something like that, somebody shouldn't have been able to point it out.
Yeah.
But There's all kinds of like crazy little nuances about that, and they're all playing off the fact that nobody really knows what Ari's storyline is because it's not,
Nobody
that's
fucking
it's
knows.
unwritten.
The other thing someone noticed was that the waif, to support the whole idea that the waif was somebody and that Jaqen was setting her up, was that when the waif comes in to report that Arya failed, she goes, "You promised me I get to kill her, not you promised a girl that the girl gets to kill her."
Yep. And so we go into, and then episode 8 is like, the Brava section is like Arya running through the streets.
Yeah, like she gets healed up by Lady Crane, who heals her up. You find out that she rewrote the play, really good stuff, and then the wave shows up in a guy's face and fucking murders her like Freddy Krueger style, like bent over backwards over a chair or some shit. I'm like, what? Like, it was very bizarre. Again, very surreal, felt way too fast. Arya's running through the streets.
Arya's running through the streets, chased by the wraith. There was even another really crazy screenshot, fan theory, from the trailer that somebody took, and it pointed out there's this scene where the waif is standing at the bottom of these steps.
Yeah.
And there's a man behind her, and the shadow of the man looked like Serial Pharrell. And then there's this whole concept about how
he's a faceless man.
He's a faceless man, and that's actually the person that we know as Jaqen in his initial form, and he followed Arya all through that point.
That'd be cool.
Which I thought also was another really cool fan theory. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, it does look like Syria. But probably they don't do anything with it. People just run by. And Arya runs into this little hidey hole that she established 2 episodes ago when she had pagan needle and she put it into this little dark room. We assumed that it was probably her room in the House of Black and White.
It's not.
It wasn't.
It was a cave.
It's just this little cave, little hidey hole that she's found. And she, and
then I called it.
There's one candle, and she slices it, as Bill called it, in darkness, where, she's used to being for the last, several months, and she just fucking slices her face off and brings it to Jaqen and puts it on the shelf.
Which unlike the other deaths, the Blackfish and what's that guy's name? Stannis. The waif dying off screen was nice because we didn't need to know.
She's no one.
She's no.
She's no one.
Well done, guns. No, it was really because you didn't need to. It led up to, even though we knew Arya won, we knew what happened. We knew what happened, but it was a good lead up with Jaqen following a blood trail, going to the Hall of Faces, and just seeing this face that isn't well taken off, just shoved up there, and
Well, that's because it was fresh. They usually prep the bodies and clean the bodies and send people quietly. No, Arya's just
fuck it,
fuck you, dude.
You don't get shit from me anymore.
And I'm just
and.
Somebody went to the dark side.
Jaqen turns and goes, finally, the girl is no one. And Arya goes, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. He goes, no, the girl is Arya Stark, and she's heading home. And at that point, one of the greatest pictures ever showed up on the internet is a picture of Bruce Wayne and Arya Stark. Came from lots of money, family died, lost all their money, traveled around the world, trained by assassins, turned against assassin, go home, becomes Batman. Arya Stark is Batman.
Is Batman. She's gonna be the Batman, dude. I'm I'm almost expecting Jaqen to stop her.
I was.
And there's also they could also go back to the same kind of thought process where, I don't know, there's some way they could save some of these theories.
There is a lot of ways to save a lot of these theories. Like Jaqen being the water dancer. That's totally possible. He built her up to become this killing machine, and she is now. And now he's going to lead her to this path of destruction.
We didn't see a body though with you would think that here's the other interesting concept. We didn't see a body of the waif.
Did we need to see a body?
We don't even. I don't know if we needed to.
Well, but she think she's going to come back
there's the potential that the waif wasn't a real person. Maybe Arya was wearing the waste face.
And the Arya
Maybe somebody else.
and the Arya
is
won.
wearing-
The Arya won.
And the Arya won. So, I mean, there's so many different.
This
So many different ways it could go. I'm just so interested, and that next episode is just going to entirely be Bastard Bowl. So you know you're not going to get any of these questions answered probably this season because there's only like 10 episodes, and I don't give a fuck if it's like 65 minutes long.
actually watch surprise. This whole like event with Arya and Ravos took place like 2 months ago. She arrives at the Bastard Bowl and just slits
Right.
Ramsay's throat. And it's like a girl has a needle. And then writes
That
her
would be
like
fascinating.
carves her whole name into him and like poops on him.
Poops on them.
Poops on 'em.
Indeed. So that's you know,
That's
that
it.
was that episode. So that happened.
Yep. That's it. Those were the
So-
2 episodes. A lot of people were saying that a lot happened, but you know, we have 45 minutes here that says a lot of shit happened.
Yeah.
So
I
fuck
mean,
you.
there's enough stuff happened to talk about it, and enough stuff happened to
not really be important.
not really be important. It wasn't even necessarily a storytelling episode either, like like episode 6 was.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It was good.
that's where we're at.
I liked them. I liked them because it didn't focus on a lot of the heavy stuff. We got a lot of little cogs moving, and more importantly, we got everybody's favorite character, Arya, moving again. She's no longer in Bravos.
Well,
She
she
has-
still is in Bravos. She no longer wants to stay in
Yeah,
Bravos.
she's going home.
Sometime
Honey, I'm
next season,
going home.
between seasons.
Ah, hell. So, with that, next episode is the Bastard Bowl.
The Bastard
2016.
Bowl.
I'm gonna add to our hashtag list. Arya is Batman.
All right, I think that's a pretty good idea. I was definitely plugging us and how we're better than After the Thrones.
Hashtag better than After the Thrones. Hashtag hold the door. Hashtag Stargarian. Hashtag Bastard Bowl 2016. And hashtag Arya is Batman.
Yes.
I don't know how hashtags work, so we're just fucking with it.
So we just kind of throw it up. It's ridiculous, but
That's
somebody's
us.
got to do it.
Someone's got to do this. That's it for
That's
us. Thank you so much for stopping by. We love you.
Why haven't we seen anything from Dorne?